Warning! The following video is extremely quiet. This is because, after recording for 40 freaking minutes, I derped utterly and realized only afterwards that I'd forgot to plug in my microphone. Thus, all the voice you'll hear is actually coming off my webcam, which has very soft recording quality, so I've had to turn down the audio of the main video a lot, and even then it's still kind of, eh. So I advise you, turn your volume up for this one, because, yeah, I derped big time. Anyway, on to the main video. Welcome back, and apologies for the late video, but seriously, my brain needed time to recover after watching the latest Pokemon Direct on X and Y. Yeah, suffice to say, I was screaming for hours after that, not helped by the fact that this was the first live stream I'd ever really had a chance to watch, because, well, Australia's usually in a terrible location for live streams. Funnily enough, judging by the chat on the side of the screen, it looked as though Australia was actually getting things a little bit ahead of everyone else, so that was actually kind of funny. Original... Basically, for anyone who's been living under a rock lately, it's been announced that you will get 2 starters in X and Y. You'll get your Gen 6 starter at the beginning of the game, and then a little bit later on, Professor Sycamore will give you one of the original Kanto starters. And they can all Mega Evolve too, although Mega Charizard is sadly not Fire Dragon, and sadly does not have an ability such as Rock Blocker, which destroys Stealth Rocks completely. That's my only real gripe. I mean, they all look pretty cool, and, yeah, I don't really want to go off topic too much in this video, so I'll leave my, because then, yeah, later, then they revealed the starter middle evolutions, which is something I don't think they've done for quite a while. Usually we have to wait until the game comes out to get them. Unfortunately, we're probably going to have to wait until the game comes out to get the starter final evolutions, and really, that's what I always judge my decision based on. I only really care about the final forms, because of course, that's the one you'll be having the longest. So, yeah, I'll leave my, discussion about that to a little later in the video. There's a bit later on where I don't think I'm going to have very much to say, so I'll leave my, again, X and Y discussion for that. For the time being, we have found in this dark grass a Zeb Striker. Yep, you can catch Zeb Strikers in the wild right here, and they are incredibly useful for the next gym. Yeah, this is about the point in the game where you start getting handed. Well, we're starting to find a lot of evolved wild Pokemon in the wild, outside of Shaky Grass, and seriously, Shaky Grass is not the most reliable of methods. But anyway, looks like it's nighttime, so I can just chuck some Dust Balls. Hopefully I should be able to catch this thing at this low HP. Nope, dang it. Oh well. This is, I believe, the highest level you can get this species at, so... yeah, this is going to be very useful. Maybe one more Gear Grind, or one more Charge Beam. This should do absolutely nothing. Oh, crap. Yeah, this could be not quite that... yeah, that Flame Charge gets annoying. It certainly... oh, right. It's got... actually, no matter what ability this thing has, unless it's from Dream World, electric moves are going to have no effect on it anyway. It's got either Lightning Rod or Motor Drive, so I was dumb for forgetting that. And that did more than Flame Charge, I believe. So, yeah, that was dumb. Yeah, I mean, if this thing was from Dream World, it would have had Sap Sipper, but it's not, so that is annoying. Really annoying. And you might notice, yes, my team is pretty much getting completely filled with electric types. There is a good reason for that, a very good reason for that. Let's just say the next gym, I'm going to want to get revenge for how hard the last gym was. Come on, Dust Ball. Come on, Dust Ball. Oh! Serves me right for saying that. And... Pursuit is not really going to help you here. Come on, Dust Ball. Ich, ni, san, yatta! Sorry for Japanese. I just kind of felt like I'm speaking English or just Japanese then. Anyway, we have Zeb Striker, the Thunderbolt Pokemon, which is pretty awesome. And when they run at full speed, the sound of thunder... I forgot how awesome this thing was. Sadly, I find its cry incredibly disturbing. It sounds like someone being stabbed. It really does. Just that scream. Ugh. Anyway. Meet Thunderhoof's big brother, Brohoof. I'm going to be wanting to add him to the party as soon as possible. That's possibly one of the strongest things I've ever got in this challenge, actually. And we have Watchog. This is also the highest level they can appear at, so let's go catch this one. Watchogs actually have a lot of really interesting moves. Now, the main reason I'm catching this is not so much for actual... Ooh, Hyper Fang is actually quite nasty. Yeah, like I said, nasty. Good thing I Volt switched out. Hopefully this doesn't do too much. Definitely not. And, so basically, Watchogs aren't the best for, like, actual outright battling at this point, but they are one of the highest level things you can get at this point, so yeah. But, the... Ooh, Psych Up, okay. Weird. I remember Psych Up was always a mystery to me back when I first played Gold and Silver, because back then, the move didn't actually work unless the target did have stat changes on them. Which means that I never actually got to see the animation until one time when I was grinding in Mount Silver and this Golduck did it. And the animation looked really cool back in Gold and Silver, so I was like, whoa! Then I found out it was kind of situational, but I mean, Psych-Up's actually pretty useful in certain situations. Now, this here is the reason why I want to catch a Watchog. Oh crap, and I want to catch this soon, lest its Rocky Helmet, yeah, lest it beat itself to death on my own Rocky Helmet. That's gonna be annoying. Some. And catch. Great, you were a lot more cooperative than the last one was. So, anyway, we have Watchog, the Lookout Pokemon. So they spit out a barrage of seeds against enemies they notice. So, interesting. Although, I am a little annoyed that, Patron and Watchog almost seem to be a direct rip-off of Sentret and Furret in terms of their actual backstories. They're just way too similar for my tastes. That's just me. I mean, in looks and in movesets, they're quite different, but, See, yeah, I'm not one to complain about new Pokemon's designs, but here, when you get two Pokemon whose Pokedex entries are so similar like that, it's kind of off-putting. But, anyway, it seems I was struggling to think up a nickname for this thing for the time. But, anyway, I am going to call this thing, yeah, based on that Pokedex description. Yeah, I'm going to avoid the obvious Team Fortress references, mostly because I haven't played that game. And I don't intend to. I'm horrible at first-person shooters. But... anyway, we have mini-turrets, named after the weapon in the Ratchet & Clank series that I believe has appeared in quite a few installments, actually. Like it says, it throws a small turret on the ground that shoots at any enemy it sees. When upgraded, it fires missiles, which is pretty cool. Again, I know it appeared in 2 and in Deadlocked. I think it appeared in 3 as a retro weapon as well, I'm not sure, but... I have a feeling it did, but, funnily enough, in Deadlocked, they actually had an excuse why another version of the weapon was being marketed by a different, group, in that, apparently, they admitted that they ripped it off from, the other weapons company, but that apparently, once the, original company's lawyers caught onto them, they made them contestants in one of their arena challenges, and no other legal disputes happened since. The descriptions of weapons in that series are sometimes pretty funny. But I digress, that has nothing to do with Pokemon at all, so let's just keep going. Yeah, a warning, I don't really have all that much to say about this particular part. I do remember there is a breeder up there in the sequels, which is incredibly irritating because... And we are going in here for... Oh, why am I going near this place again? Oh, that Carmen Sandiego, she totally destroyed me last time. Ugh. Don't want to even think about what happened then. Okay, let's just keep moving. Alright, I believe I'm trying to avoid a trainer on the other side, so I'm just, sneaking through the grass here, just to get to my destination, because we're already fully healed, because we don't even need to go back to that Pokemon Center due to that house there that oh so kindly fully heals us. So, walking through the grass, don't want to hear about you again, go away. Must get away from Carmen Sandiego as fast as possible. Anyway, more dealings, they still haven't changed their seasonal form, blah 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 blah, I really don't. You already know that anyway. And we are almost at the Celestial Tower. Oh, come on! Only 2 more steps. It's times like these when I kind of wish you could cut grass. And have I? I'm pretty sure I have seen a Tranquil on this route before. Yeah, they're interesting. I seriously hope that the fletchling line ends up being better than the unfeathered line, because seriously, unfeathered was just pathetic. You'll see in the next gym. So, here we are, Celestial Tower, which still sounds like the name of a Zelda dungeon. A place of rest for departed spirits. Yes, every Pokemon game, every single generation always has some kind of graveyard-like area. And after Lavender Town, none of them have been particularly creepy. All of them seem to have nice, calming, peaceful music, and I don't know why, but I kind of like it when graveyards are depicted like that. It was like that in Valkyria Chronicles as well. It had a graveyard that was depicted as kind of a place of peace, as opposed to a place of horror. Which, I don't know, I like that because it tends to be how graveyards come off to me in real life as well. But anyway, of course, you can't have a graveyard in the Pokemon series without ghost Pokemon jumping you. This here is Litwick. Now, tragically to me, this thing is really not useful at all in this kind of challenge. It's pretty weak at the level you catch it at, and you can't evolve it, so it's actually not that great, and I really don't... In fact, there's nothing here at all I can really, catch, which is annoying, because I just love the Litwick line. It's one of my favourite evolution families in all of Gen 5. So, yeah, I don't know if it's the 140 base special attack, or the fact that Lampent looks like something out of a Studio Ghibli film, or the fact that, I don't know, it's just Ghost Candle evolving into a Ghost Chandel. It's just awesome. And plus, Ghost Fire is an amazing typing. It's just so cool. I love that typing. Anyway, yes, I'm digressing again. Oh! Hello! Thank you so much for using Simple Beam on the Pokemon who has stat boosting moves. This is totally gonna end well for you, and you'll see why in a moment. Oh, you're still going for Simple Beam, eh? So yeah, what Simple Beam does is it changes the target's ability to Simple. You might have noticed my special attack there sharply rose instead of just rose by 1 level. Yep, the Simple ability doubles the effects of stat alterations, both positive and negative, but we're not going to be seeing negative here. Interestingly, Simple actually changed in its effect between generations. In Generation 4, when the ability was first introduced, stat boosting moves would actually still provide only the same level they would normally, like as in like Charge Beam would still say that it boosted special attack by 1 level. However, for the Pokemon itself, the stat change, the effect of the stat change was doubled. So technically speaking, you were only at +1, but it counted as +2 because it was doubled. This meant that you could Baton Pass to a simple Pokemon and have all your Baton Pass boosts doubled. In this generation, they changed it. Now, as you can see, it actually outright doubles the amount of levels you get from boosting moves. So moves that would normally boost your stats 1 level actually boost them 2 levels, and it changes the message accordingly. Now normally, this Sigilyph would be a nightmare, but seeing as I now have +6 special attack and always isn't enough to break through that light screen, please tell me it is. Come on, +6 special attack. Come on, +6 special attack. Come on. Oh, not quite. I blame the light screen. Without that light screen, that thing would have been white for sure, but anyway. Maybe I should try crunching this thing. Yeah, get around that light screen that way. So yeah, like I was saying, what this means with the new version of Simple is, again, you can't actually Baton Pass straight to a Simple Pokemon and reap double benefits, because it only doubles the effects of boosting moves that you yourself use, or that are used on you. I'm actually kind of surprised I don't see Simple being used that much in double or triple battles, because it's actually a really cool strategy. I mean, you could, yeah, double the effects of your allies' boosting moves. That's awesome. I seriously need to make a doubles team based around that. Really, I do. Of course, it's not quite as awesome as Topsy-Turvy Draco Meteor, but that's not until next generation. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I can say about Simple, except for the fact that I believe Woobat actually makes quite good use of that, with Simple Calm Mind and then having access to stored power. At least I think it has access to stored power. Yeah, which... So, Simple being, yeah, gives them Simple, which usually benefits them. Simple is a pretty amazing ability for the most part. It's only hampered by bad distribution. Although it's kind of funny that Bidoof is one of the things that gets it. It's kind of funny about Bidoof. I always dislike Bidoof, but Bidoof is kind of the concept of a really terrible Pokemon with absolutely amazing abilities, which actually does make it kind of usable. Like, all of Bidoof's ability options are actually really, really good. Some of the best abilities in the game. So, another Litwick, and again, I'm so sad I can't really use one of these, yeah. So, also, there's a whole lot of trainers in here who seem to have no respect for the dead whatsoever. There's also a lot of items, and there's some very good loot to be found here, so I'm going to be exploring this place as best I can. Unfortunately, here's the thing. In a normal playthrough, I kind of like this place, because it gives you the ability to grind a little bit more before the gym, without making it feel like you're actually grinding, because you're going through a new area. I just really love this game's approach to it. You won't actually notice it here, because we're not gaining experience, but, oh, stupid. I don't know what to term this. If it's like the Wild Trainer 2 combo or something, when the Wild Pokemon stops you in your tracks long enough for a trainer to turn around and nose you. You'll remember that happened earlier with that Pokemon Ranger that just jumped right up behind me. It gets very, very annoying. So, yeah, like I was saying, normally, I like this game's approach to, well, one, it makes grinding a whole lot less monotonous, and, oh look, another one of these things double went to flying. Because basically, whenever you get to an area, and you're not quite high enough level to take on the gym, usually they give you a new area to explore, and by the time you're through that, you will be high enough level to take on the gym. Like Celestial Tower here. And on the off chance you're still not, there's always Ordino. Wow, that's actually really sad. You see a lot of kind of sad stories in places like this in the series. Of course, the fact that every single generation has a graveyard-type area, it's really almost made for Nuzlocke in a way. Yeah, just about every single Nuzlocke challenge has the players visiting this place to pay their respects to the departed thing. I'm actually kind of against the concept of a Nuzlocke in general. You'll find out why by looking at my introduction to this playthrough video. But anyway, we just got a Will-O-Wisp TM back there, so yes, very, very good loot here, and Wild Pokemon can unfortunately ambush you on the stairs. What I will say about this place, though, is that it's one of the best effort training spots in the game. Although a lot of ghost places are, because the because the old chateau in Diamond and Pearl also you could only find Millie Ghastlies, and they were great for special attack training. Here, yeah, every single thing you find here gives effort to special attack. Not so much in the sequels when you could find Golbats in here, but as long as you stuck to the lower floors, you didn't really run into them. There is actually another Pokemon in here besides Litwick, but it gets more common the higher up you go, but don't worry, it still gives effort points towards special attack, and this floor is just chock full of Psychics, isn't it? There's no real dedicated Ghost Trainer type for the 5th generation, so I guess they just had to use Psychics. So, the thing is, there actually isn't that much to say about this place now, because there's a whole lot of trainers to go through, and in a no experience challenge, yeah, there's not much point to battling them, but you're kind of forced to battle all of them if you want all the items, which I do, because, as you can see there, Will-O-Wisp, that TM, really useful, especially in this kind of challenge, when you need all the help you can get. Now, if you're worried about healing as you go up this tower, don't worry, there is something that will help you with that, but for the time being, I'll just have to use some items. So, yeah. I think, like I said before, I might take this time to explain a few thoughts on new X and Y announcements, and other things like that, just because, yeah, I'm not going to have much to say here. So, how about we begin? So, the mid-forms of the starters have been revealed, And it's actually kind of interesting. Originally, I was definitely dead set on picking Fennekin, but I actually kind of think Froakies mid-form is cooler now, so... Yeah, the thing is, I always tend to gravitate towards either fire or water. I don't think I've ever really picked grass in any main game that I've actually played. I don't know why. I know a lot of people who love the grass starters. I don't know, the grass starters have never appealed to me. I don't know if it's for the fact that I actually didn't like the fact that in Red and Blue, Bulbasaur made the first two gyms so much easier. I don't know why, I just felt that took away too much of the challenge. I know that Brock was utter hell for me using Charmander, but I, for some reason, despite the fact that she's got a freaking Starmie, and I still started with Charmander, I never found Misty that difficult. I don't remember her being that difficult, so I have no idea how I got past her, but I just did. But anyway, speaking of the Kanto starters, that's the thing. You get access to the Kanto starters too, and here's where we run into a bit of a problem. Because if I pick Fennekin, that stops me from picking Charmander, my favourite of the original Kanto starters, and I had a brilliant idea I felt for tradition's sake, I would really love to pick Charmander, and nickname it the same nickname that I called my very first Charmander in Red and Blue, but with the second after it. I'm not going to reveal that nickname just in case it later gets shown up here, but still, I just kind of like that, having, you know, carrying on the legacy of my past games, and I really like the idea of having your new starter and your old starter kind of, you know, forming a combination that kind of complements each other's weaknesses, and, you know, basically just generally being bros, which I think is pretty cool. So, yeah, I like that idea, but it means that I really wouldn't like to pick two things at the same time. The really annoying thing about this next generation is, it suffers from, oh, here's the other thing that appears here, LGM, yes, the alien Pokemon. This thing's actually pretty cool. If I do catch one, I'll probably talk about its Pokedex description, because I really like it. It's a nice nod to Black and White's American inspiration, but in kind of a different part of the culture than you normally see. In fact, it's actually kind of ironic, because apparently I think Area 51 has actually finally been made available to the public now. So, that's interesting. And yeah, that item right there is a trap. This psychic will come right after you once you get it. So, back to my original thing. The problem I'm having with X and Y is, it suffers from reverse Diamond and Pearl syndrome. Namely, there's just too many good fire types! Seriously, you know, you've got Fennekin, you've got Charmander, you've got Fletchling, you've got Litleo now, and being revealed, I must say, Pyroar looks amazing. Both of its gender forms look really, really cool. And it looks pretty awesome, I must say. So, I really would have loved to use that if it weren't for the predicament that... Yeah. Because the thing is, I tend to often like to use the generation's main flying type, because I always like to put a flyer on my team. It's always useful to keep one at all times. I think the only two HMs that I like to keep on my teams at all times are Surf and Fly. Well, for obvious reasons. And the problem is, I'm probably not going to be able to use Fletchling really, because it's another fire type, and I will definitely have either Charmander or Fennekin, so, and I really don't want to give myself too many horrible, horrible rock weaknesses, so, that's annoying, because Fletchling's line looks awesome, so, unless there's another flying type, but I doubt it, I doubt you can get as cool as a flaming fork arrow. So, yeah, that could be a problem. Now, what I think I've decided is that I will most likely be choosing either Fennekin or Froakie. Now, the thing I think is really cool about the 6th generation starters is that they all seem to embody a particular RPG character archetype. Chespin, well, say what you want about its second form, but it looks like it's kind of evoking knights, particularly Quilladin, its name deriving from Paladin. I only recently found that out. So, the thing is, as you can probably tell from my Fire Emblem playthroughs, I'm a huge fan of the Armor Knight class, and Knights in general. I tend to really gravitate towards them. And I don't know, I just love knights in armor, and you'd think that'd mean that I gravitate towards Chespin, but really, no, it's more to do with the fact that it's grass, really. I don't know, grass starters is, my sister just gave me a really weird look. She likes grass starters. Although her first game was actually yellow, so that was Pikachu, so she never actually got a chance to get a grass starter in, The good thing about her liking grass starters is that I never pick the grass starters, and she always does, so I always have access to them later if I need to breed them. So that's kind of cool. So I'm not really sure what's actually going to happen though this generation, because she seems to quite like Fennekin, so yeah. Then again, I'm actually going to have 2 games this generation anyway, because I was lucky enough to win one in the tournament at my uni's Pokemon Society. Yeah, I somehow fluked winning a multi-battle tournament, despite the fact that I got assigned to a completely random partner I'd never met before, who was using a rain team when I was using the sun. We still managed to win, which was... They're actually, I may put those videos up on YouTube, the battle videos. I had some great battles in that anyway. But basically, the prize was a copy of either X or Y. And the reason I might be getting a second copy, well, I'll say it later. Oh, and by the way, this is why you don't need to worry about healing, because there's a nurse here. This is also great when you're EV training and you've got a weak Pokemon that tends to get knocked out by candles all the time. So, back to the topic of starters. I'm going to be picking either Fennekin or Froakie. Fennekin was my initial choice just because it looks awesome, it's a Fire Fox, and it will probably evolve into a Fire Psychic. Its second form, I kind of lean more towards Froakie's second form, really. But the thing is, I've actually kind of started to warm up to it, no horrible cool kids pun intended, when I realised that it actually uses its stick as a wand. That is pretty cool. And the fact that it's based on the sort of mage archetype of an RPG character, I do like mages, so that's pretty cool. Hey, you know what? If I got a male one, I just realised I could name it Azel. That actually mightn't be that bad. Although, the other thing I have with it is, it looks very, very feminine, and it probably still has a, mostly male gender ratio, so that's gonna be kind of weird. Yeah, I kind of prefer it if it was... My sister says that if she got a female one, she'd call it Carmelita, but, I can see why people would do that, but the problem is it's gonna be difficult to get a female one, presumably, which is weird, because it actually does look kind of feminine. I'm going way off topic here. I actually would kind of like to talk about the Pokemon I'm facing at the moment, but I don't want to go too off topic, so I'll keep talking. Now, Froakie is interesting. Froakie didn't really appeal to me at first, but its second form looks really, really cool. Frogadier, apparently, which might come from Brigadier, or maybe... Originally, I was thinking Musketeer, but most people are actually thinking that it might end up evolving into a Ninja Frog. This is kind of interesting, because, there's a lot of, game series that have frogs based off ninjas. Well, actually, not just game series. The main one that comes to mind is Jiraiya in Naruto, who I mostly know from the, game adaptations of that, but still. And then, of course, there's Yosuke in Persona 4, whose persona is pretty much a ninja frog, which is kind of interesting. And the interesting thing about that is that there's actually a good reason for that. Both of those characters draw inspiration from a Japanese legend of a ninja named Jiraiya, who has the ability to transform into a frog. So, perhaps Froakie will draw inspiration from that? I'm not really sure. We'll have to see the final form to tell. But... Anyway, the thing with that is, we can't really pin down a set-in-stone final type for that thing, though. Because, at first I was thinking the stars were going to be Grass Dark, Fire Psychic, and Water Fighting. Now, it's pretty likely that Fennekin's final form is going to be Fire Psychic. It's got Psycho Cut, it has a magic wand, yeah. Although if it does end up being Fire Fighting, I'm going to start getting angry. Very, very angry. But... Anyway, let's cross that bridge when we come to it. Oh, you don't have Simple, do you? Please don't have... Okay, I believe Simple is Dream World. That should be fine. Anyway. The thing is, Chespin, I was thinking Grass Dark, but really, if it's going to be based on some kind of knight or some kind of armored thing, Grass... It looks as though Grass steel, grass ground, or grass rock might even be more appropriate. It learns the moves it's shown to be learning are things like rollout and mud shot, so grass rock or grass ground seems more likely now. So, yeah, and then about Froakie, if it really is a ninja, Water Dark might be a better type combination, might be more appropriate, but that would give it a horrible, horrible, massive advantage over Fennekin, so that would be interesting. Actually, come to think of it, the starters, I only just thought of this now. The starters could actually, rather than making them strong against the one they're normally weak against, the starters could all have type combinations that make them even weaker to the one they're supposed to be weak to. Maybe. I don't know, because if you've got Water Dark being super strong against Fennekin, Grass Psychic being... Okay, here's where the analogy breaks down. I mean, Fire Psychic. Unless Cheskin was Grass Fighting. Because Grass Steel would make it horribly weak to fire, and then Fennekin would be... They wouldn't share too many... Okay. Okay, let's just get off the speculation for the moment. But, going back to the starters that I'm probably going to end up choosing. Now, again, I am torn between either Fennekin and... I actually don't know. Probably Squirtle, because I think Blastoise's Mega Form looks really, really awesome. And I need a Surfer for the party, so yeah. But Bulbasaur would be cool too. I've never really started with Bulbasaur before. Either that, or if I pick Froakie, I am definitely backing them up with Charmander. Definitely. That is a complete and total no contest. It is gonna be, if it's Froakie, it is gonna be Charmander as well. So, that's that thing. So, I'm really torn. Either Fennekin and most likely Blastoise, or Froakie and Charizard. But, as I said, I'm probably going to be getting 2 copies of the game. You know that I'm getting my first copy out of that contest, but what about my second? Now, here's where I need to talk about a few more things. I probably still have time to talk about this, so yeah, here we go. Now, as I am speaking, I am having my DS sent in, my 3DS, my American 3DS, the Fire Emblem Awakening American 3DS, which is part of the reason I bought it, actually, sent in to be modified with a capture device. I have promised I'd be doing Fire Emblem Awakening eventually, and this is why. However, one of the main reasons I'm actually doing this is for, well, is so that I have the ability to record Wi-Fi battles off Pokemon X and Y. It should be simple to transfer Pokemon from a main game over to this one. Also, you might be asking, oh hey, if you've got an American DS, you're gonna need an American game. Well, I'm planning on getting Pokemon X and Y, probably X, because I'm gonna get Y as my Australian copy. I'm planning on getting it off of the Nintendo eShop. Yeah, I have access to the American eShop, which is so awesome, because the games there are so much cheaper than they are in Australia! But that's a rant for another time. No, Doggy versus Bigger Doggy, that's interesting. Anyway, okay, I have so much rage about that subject. We get ripped off for stuff in Australia so much! But, anyway, I will probably be able to download Pokemon X off the American eShop. Unless, I have a feeling the eShop's going to be receiving massive amounts of traffic the day that game comes out. Like, seriously, massive, massive amounts of traffic. I mean, put it in perspective, if Fire Emblem Awakening crashed the eShop, I dread to think what's going to happen with this series as well known as Pokemon. Anyway though, I plan to get this so I can either transfer Pokemon from my main Australian game over to this one, do Wi-Fi battles with it, and record them off my recording device. Just like I recorded PBR battles back in the day. I just really like recording my Wi-Fi matches, and it's part of the reason I'm not so into X and Y Wi-Fi, black and white Wi-Fi, is that I have no method of recording my matches. So, yeah, that's the thing. But, here's something I wanted to discuss. Getting a copy of X or Y on my capture card 3DS leads to the question of the fact that I might be able to do an actual recording of my run through the main story. Now, this is something I've been considering for a while. Now, my DS it's quite late in the queue for getting a capture device, And initially, I actually ordered this for my birthday, which is coming the end of September. Now, I have a feeling it might not get there by then. I really hope it will, but I tend to always assume the worst for things, so assuming it won't, I still think it will probably get here before October 12th. If it does, then... You survived that? Really? Oh wow, I'm really gonna need to see the nurse after this. Thank goodness I'm paralyzed. Oh wow! Oh, you're gonna... you're gonna fake yourself with recoil, aren't you? Oh, that's great. I love it when that happens. And run back to the nurse now. So, sorry to cut myself off there. The thing is, because X and Y are having a simultaneous worldwide release, it means that for the very first time, I might be able to do a totally blind playthrough of a new Pokemon game. As in, not knowing anything. As in, well, of course, I'll know all the stuff from the announcements that have happened prior to the game's release. Everything else, though, I know absolutely nothing about. I could do this without spoiling myself on any of the new Pokemon apart from the ones we already know. I could go through this without spoiling myself on any of the gym leaders' teams. I could go through this without spoiling myself on the plot, the layout of the land, nothing. I could do the whole game totally blind. And again, because the game hasn't been out in Japan, you know, before here, I'd have no risk of spoiling myself before doing parts of the game. This is an idea that really interests me, and if I get my capture card device around the time that the game's actually come out, I could record a totally blind playthrough with live commentary. Now, don't get your hopes up. This might not happen, depending on whether or not when I actually get the capture card. If I get it after the game comes out, chances are I will start my Australian copy first. But it just kind of begs the question, though. I would really like to do this. It's something I would probably enjoy. Now, I've never tried live commentary before, though, so I might be a bit weird at it. But hopefully, if something particularly hilarious or interesting happens, you'll see my reaction to it, and you'd see my reactions to everything live. So, now we have Skylar, and she saw a hurt Pokemon up here, and it wasn't an Ampharos. Flew away. Just what kind of Pokemon was it? Probably a flying type, but, wonder if it was Mesprit. Probably not. Anyway. So, we can ring that bell for the spirits of departed Pokemon, and... yeah, like I was saying. What does the future hold? Well, yeah, there is a possibility of me doing a blind run of Pokemon X or Y, depending on which one I end up getting. Still kinda undecided. And a moment of silence while I ring the bell. I actually love the graphics up here, by the way, just amazing. It looks pretty cool at night, actually, I must say, so I'm kind of glad I'm doing this at night. So, like I was saying, yeah, it's possible. It just kind of depends. The problem is, it's going to be hard to get my microphone set up at the same time as I'm recording audio off of X or Y, because... yeah, I have a feeling that my computer's line-in jack is gonna be the same as the one for the microphone, so might not be able to do this at the same time. I might have to do it Royal Mithril style and simply turn the volume up really loud and have the microphone record both my voice and the game. So, big tangent there, but I'd like to ask you, as I come back, because I cut out my trip down the tower, because seriously, who wants to see that? But I didn't cut this out. This here is the highest level you can catch Litwicks at, so I thought I'd go ahead and catch this one. Unfortunately, she's not actually going to be too useful for reasons I've said before, but still. So like I was saying, if you are interested in seeing a completely blind run of Pokemon X or Y, then leave a note in the comments if you are. I'm probably going to be recording stuff off of that game regardless, but really, it just depends which of the copies I start first, the recording one or my main one. Again, it depends when I get my capture device in, which, again, it could take a little while. I seriously hope it's there before October 12th. I sent it on the 1st of September, so I allowed him 1 month to do it. I thought that was about right. So, he also, the guy who does them says that he knows that a lot of people are getting them for X and Y, so I think he's actually going to try and get a lot of them out by October 12th. So anyway, of course, once I actually get my device, you can expect to see Awakening stuff, and definitely an Awakening playthrough in the future. We haven't seen the last of Mary Sue, let's just say. And yeah, I've gone kind of off topic in this video, but I felt it kind of was the best place because I didn't have much to say about this area. So, yeah, next time I will have a lot to say because we're going into the next gym. Whether I have nice things to say though, might be a problem. So, so Bernadette, the Limerick, will see you next time. Actually not.